Einstein, I think, said that you cannot get to the solution at the same level of thinking as thinking about the problem. You have to think at another level of thinking. And the man he's creating the 10 billion people happy movement, Mo Gawdat. He was on A Diary of a CEO, and Stephen Bartlett asked him if he could go back in time and sit with anyone and have dinner with them, spend time with them that was deceased, who would you do? And I was expecting him to say his son, actually, because his son died young, right? And he said, I'd sit with Einstein and ask him about his level or state of mind when he came up with the theories of relativity. I think it was probably special relativity. That was the one he would want to know about, right? Which is really, that I found really interesting. Really interesting. Yeah, have you got any thoughts on that?
I mean, Einstein obviously is one of my favorite scientists, and from early age has really shaped a lot of my career in science. So I don't want to idealize people, but Einstein he was really kind of a character, not because obviously what he found in terms of the special relativity, but like what he actually had to face. Michael Faraday, by the way, is another one, just to name another scientist. I resonate with by the way, I don't have kids, so I cannot fully resonate with that person, but I kind of resonate with the choice of Einstein. If you really look into read the biography, and ironically learned, right, the biography, he had to go through a lot. Einstein. He was not at all like this kind of a good student, and got the opportunities. Not at all. He was kind of going against the status quo from the very early age in a kind of a naive way, and he put himself in two really troubling contexts. He could not really find a job after he got a degree. And we are talking about in a time that after people were getting a degree, they will immediately become assistant professor. He finished the school, the university, but like a professor at the time, he got really antibodies against Einstein because he was always challenging. And he was really upset with that. Einstein was upset with that professor because he was only teaching things that were too much in the past, not like electromagnetics, because it was like kind of the light, he was not teaching that. And Einstein was furious not learning that. So this professor really kind of gained antibodies, and he pretty much wanted to destroy the career of Einstein. And Einstein was like for many years without even a job, right? We're talking about a brilliant mind that has been ostracized by this scientific community in a way, by this academic environment, in a way that it was only possible to Einstein to find his job in the patent office, not because it was his choice. It was really lost thing that he could have it. But guess what? It was kind of as well a bit of turning the luck, because in the patent office happens that he was working with a lot of patents about clocks and light beams, and allowed him to think in different ways. And he got like kind of these thought experiments, different ways of thinking, sitting in a way on uncertainty, like this negative capability. By the way, if you have read Mastery from Robert Greene, he actually describes that on his book. He sit on this uncertainty, kind of this, like he could not get over this paradox of light beams and the clocks and the synchronization and so on. But he did not come out with the special relativity by being, by doing math, by doing the logic of all the calculations. That was all the other scientists were trying to do. It was a lot of visualization. It was a lot about thinking in terms of a pragmatic, or actually thinking about these weird scenarios and how to experience, in a way as well, these scenarios. And it was really like kind of obviously in a light bulb and insight when he was, and he was like talking to a friend. He only had one friend at the time, and he was saying to the friend, he was going to give up. This is just I can't solve this problem. I'm going to give up. And it was on that moment. It was in a morning. He was talking to a friend on the way into the office of the patent. That Einstein was saying, "Oh, you know what? I'm just going to give up. I really cannot solve this problem." And he was doing that for 10 years because he was like coming from 16 years old that he was starting to think about these issues. It was only after that he was giving up. And the moment he gave up, he got the idea. And the rest was history about like how this explained this synchronization was nothing to do with what other scientists were thinking about. It was actually like the time that was running differently for these two people. And it was only after he kind of accept in a way, it was giving up, that kind of maybe release the pressure, that he came out with the fight. And, you know, it's just a story, but I wanted to emphasize that he was definitely, you know, ostracized by the community. And when he wrote the paper of the 1905, the famous EMC square, actually, you're going to read the acknowledgements. He has no acknowledge to whoever scientist before him. He said no reference whatsoever. The only acknowledgement that he gave was like to his friend, and that's it.
Well, I didn't know that about him giving up. That's so interesting. And it's quite often, I think, when you let go, that you allow things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also really interesting because he was working in the patent office, and you were talking about the clocks and the light beams and things like that, that you can gain inspiration from sort of niches that are outside of your niche, and then connect the dots in that way, and it allows you to expand your thinking in a different way. That's not just so inside the box. And I guess that's a great example of thinking outside the box,
mm-hmm.
right? And sitting in that uncertainty and then allowing things to come together.